Disclaimer: the content of this video are for educational purpose only. Credits to the rightful owner. So, good day everyone. Our group will talk about values of resources. But before we begin, let us first know what is a resource. Resources are anything that has utility and adds value to your life. So, everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs. The natural resources has two types: the renewable and non-renewable resources. So when we say renewable, it can be cycled. For example, wind power, solar energy, and others. For the non-renewable resources, those resources that are depleted will not generate again. So for example, the black gold, specifically the oil, and the fossil fuel. And ecosystem services are a part of real wealth automation. So they are the natural capital out of which other forms of capital are made. So they contribute towards fiscal revenue or the tax revenue that the government earn from the people to use for government rehabilitation and other projects, income, and poverty reduction. It is important to take note that resources are natural and some are finite. So meaning some resources are not unlimited. Thus, we should only get what we need, and therefore we must take good care of it, for that the future generation can still avail the natural resources that the environment has to offer. So the value of each such resource depends on its utility, and other factors will be reported by my other group mates. So the values of resources as its utility and factors. The following are economic values for Mrs. Fanta, legal values for Miss Bajon, ethical values for Miss Abobo, and aesthetic values for Miss Iraya. So I am Efren Cominas, and that's my part of report.
Economic value. Economic valuation provides a means for measuring and comparing the various benefits of resources and their ecosystem, and can be a powerful tool to aid and improve their wise use and management. It is important to know that we measure and compare the benefits that our ecosystem can provide to us, so that we can know how to use it and manage it wisely. It attempts to assign quantitative values. Yes, kailangan may price, may numerical value na siya to the goods and service provided by the environmental resources, whether or not market prices are available. The economic value of any goods and services is generally measured in terms of what resource users or society at large are willing to pay for the commodity or for the item that they get, minus what it costs to supply it. So we need balance, kasi when it comes to money talks, we need to know what are the numbers or what are the price that we need to pay, minus minus what are the cost that when supplying the item. So where an environmental resource simply exists and products and services are supplied at no cost, then it is our willingness to pay alone which describes the value of resource are complex and multifunctional. And it is not obvious how the myriad goods, which means extremely high number of goods and services provided by these resources, affects human welfare. So economic valuation provides a tool to assist with the difficult decisions involved. So here's an example, which is example of the forest. So they are divided into 6 groups with 2 categories, which is use and non-use. So first is direct use value, which is wood and forestry, and the other one is for indirect use value, which is hunting, tourism, leisure, option value preserved for a future use, quasi-option value used for information and new usage, heritage value, which is under non-use, also the existence.
Good day po, I'm Shasha Ubudjana BSES 3B and I will discuss something about the legal value of natural resources. So natural resources law governs how people can use the parts of the environment that have some economic or societal benefits. Generally, these benefits includes air, wind, light, water, soil, and plants. Animals also that occupy the land and underground minerals or oil. It means that our natural resources are so valuable to us humans, both economically and in social aspects. The benefits that nature gives us had changed and develop our lives or improve the economy. Or obtaining a property of land full of natural resources must undergo through the legal process. The first major task natural resources law performs is to decide who has ownership rights to the resources on the land. The landowner typically has these rights, particularly in regard to soil, plants, light, wind, and animals that are present on the land at the time of capture. This means that the individual can have the right or ownership to a particular land or natural resources. The person had the rights to develop or enhance the land within his or her property. It is up to the individual how to manage the resources that the land has to offer. So the person must be responsible enough in properly managing the property owned. So though some resources are free and available, some resources can be legally bought for personal gain.
Hi, my name is Liana Feabobo and today I will give you a brief discussion about the ethical values of natural resources. So let us first understand what is ethics. Ethics is defined as the rational arguments for determining appropriate or right human action in various situations. Now, we all have different beliefs, attitudes, and values about our everyday experiences, and our human values, our traditions, cultures, and religions strongly influence the ethical systems in the world. So there is no absolutely right or wrong in ethical systems. However, there are more or less convincing arguments for supporting certain courses of actions and behavior. So what are these human values? These are the instrumental and intrinsic values. Something has instrumental value when it can be used to attain something else of value, and it is closely related to economic value. On the other hand, intrinsic value is when we value something for themselves and for what they are and for what they stand for, and not for how they are used. In ethical views, we have anthropocentric, bicentrism, ecocentrism beliefs. And in anthropocentric view, it is a belief that only humans have intrinsic value, while the biocentrism is a belief that some non-human life has intrinsic value. On the other hand, ecocentrism belief is a belief that the whole ecological systems have intrinsic value. So that is all for my brief discussion. I hope you learned something, and thank you for watching.
Hi everyone, I am Stella Igat Iraya and I will be discussing about aesthetic value. So aesthetic value is the worth that an object, event, or state of things, most commonly an artwork or the natural environment, has in terms of its ability to elicit pleasure, positive value, or unhappiness to negative value when aesthetically appreciated or experienced. Aesthetic experience is of particular importance as it reflects some of the most intimate links people have with ecological phenomena. It varies according to the scale at which the natural environment is organized and the scale of human perception. In return, aesthetic value has potentially strong influence on people's motivation or biodiversity conservation at both the landscape and species levels. So why is aesthetic values important? Aesthetics simply defined make us joyful. They generate sensations of happiness and serenity on an emotional level. They link us to our ability to reflect on and appreciate the world around us, resulting in sentiments of fulfillment and hope. Assessing the aesthetic value of landscape and identifying its relationship with biodiversity attributes is thus an important issue that should be fully integrated into landscape management and ecological conservation programs. So let's proceed the example of aesthetic value, those characteristics of a work that contributes to its success and significance as a work of art, the characteristic that underpin its significance or beauty. They include work, forms, content, integrity, harmony, purity, and appropriateness. That's all. Thank you.